So we are back to R. So suppose we want to construct a credible interval, in fact highest posterior density credible interval for the mean of normal distribution. Now we have already discussed normal distribution as a prior in case of normal distribution data at great length in the video lectures on the normal model. So suppose mu is the normal mean. So we are choosing it to be 1 and sigma is the standard deviation. So I am choosing it to be mu I am choosing it to be 0, sigma I am choosing it to be 1. Now I am generating random sample from normal distribution of size say 20 with parameters as mu and sigma. Okay. Now suppose the prior distribution of mu is again standard normal. So in our case tau is standard normal. So tau is 0 and eta, the standard deviation, is 1. So now we know that then in such cases the posterior comma won't work. Posterior distribution of mu is again normal with parameters as summation of xi upon sigma square plus tau upon eta square divided by n upon sigma square plus 1 upon eta square. So summation of xi upon sigma square. Let us write this here in the comment section. The mean PS posterior mean will be is sum of x upon sigma square plus tau upon eta square, all this divided by 1 upon sigma square plus 1 upon eta square. Sorry, not 1, n upon sigma square plus 1 upon eta square it will be. So this will be n upon sigma square. So n will be 20 here. So let us specify the parameter also. So n is equal to 20. So this will be the posterior mean. Sum of x upon sigma square plus tau upon eta square, all these divided by n upon sigma square plus 1 upon eta square. And the posterior variance is 1 upon this denominator. So n upon sigma square plus 1 upon eta square. Right. So this will be the posterior mean. And this will be the posterior variance. So let us compute this again. And now once we okay. So now let us try to plot this posterior distribution. So the posterior PDF will be, let us take first values on the x-axis. So suppose mu dot val are the values of the on the x-axis. So it will be sequence starting with say -5 to 5. See, either you can choose them arbitrarily and then can adjust them after looking at the graph, or you can simply say PS mean means this posterior mean minus 4 times posterior standard deviation and posterior mean plus 4 times posterior standard deviation. Either way you can construct. So look at the posterior mean and posterior variance first. Okay, so posterior mean is 0.099 and posterior variance is really small, it is 0.047. So standard deviation will be further smaller. So we don't need to have such a large interval, but we can say -4 to 4. Okay, so now let us plot the posterior distribution. It will be d norm at point mu dot val with mean as posterior mean, PS mean, and the Standard deviation will be square root of posterior variance. Now let us plot this. Plot mu dot val and ES PDF. Because the procedure starts with the posterior distribution graph, because we are looking for a set C such that all thetas such that the posterior distribution is at least as large as K. So we are going to implement this procedure first. So for that, first we need the graph of posterior distribution. Now the graph, since the variance is very less, I would like to reduce the sample size so that I'll get a better picture of the graph. So I'll take, instead of 20, suppose my sample size is only 5. Okay. Okay, so not bad. So as you can notice, this is going to be a symmetric distribution. In fact, because we haven't taken points towards the left of -4, so get a feeling that it is a symmetric distribution, but no, that is not the case. The mean is -1.1, so the distribution is symmetric. It's a normal PDF, it has to be symmetric. Okay, now the procedure starts with construction of set C. Now what is set C? Let us write the definition here. It is collection of all mu such that the posterior distribution is greater than or equal to a constant K, which depends on alpha, which depends on the confidence coefficient of the interval. So right, so this is what we are going to follow. We are looking for a set C which contains all those mu's such that posterior PDF at these points will be at least as large as K. So let us choose. Okay, so now alpha is say 0.05, means we are looking for 95% credible interval. Okay, so this K is going to depend on the alpha. So what can be the value of K? So notice that because you are going to compare posterior distribution with K, in order to choose the values of K, we must look at the y-axis, values on the y-axis of this graph. So what will happen if I choose K is equal to 0.2? So add a line at 0.2. So AB line H equal to 0.2. So now I'll try to explain the construction here. So by HPDCI or the credible intervals, how do we construct it? So what we do is, first we compare the posterior distribution with the constant. Right now I have chosen the constant as 0.2. Then we are looking for all those mu's for which posterior distribution is greater than or equal to 0.2. Means we are looking for all those mu's corresponding to these values, all these values. Isn't it? So means this point of intersection, if I draw perpendiculars on this graph on the x-axis from this point of intersection, then I'll get a value here which is slightly larger than -2, and I'll get a value here which is less than 0, means it will be again a negative number. So this will be the interval which I am getting here corresponding to this particular choice of K. Now do you feel that this interval will contain probability 0.95? Notice that the spread of the distribution is large, not too large, but this probability, the area under this much portion of the curve, will definitely won't be equal to 0.95. In fact, it could be less than 0.95. Means in order to get the probability of the sets as at least 0.95, I must start with a line which is closer to 0. So I may start with a constant which is closer to 0. So suppose the constant is 0.01. Let us see what will happen if I choose the constant as 0.01. Let us try to add a line. So very close to 0. Now I do get a feeling that I may have a line here. Now how do I find these points of intersections here in R? So what can be done is compare this constant k with the values which you have stored here, and then identify all those mu's for which the posterior PDF is at least k. So suppose I have started with k equal to 0.2. Let us see how to identify the set first. So I am looking for all those points for which the posterior PDF is greater than or equal to k. So which of PS PDF greater than or equal to k? So what is it going to give me? See, let us try to run the code. I am sorry, k I should have run this first, k equal to 0.2. Now let us try to find. See what do I get? So I get a vector of length 146, and the vector is telling me indices of the vector PS PDF. Indices where the points, corresponding points are larger than or equal to k. So for example, PS PDF at 2118, it is larger than k, and PS PDF at 363 is also larger than k, right? Means if I go for PS PDF at 364, it is not going to be larger than k, it is going to be smaller than k. Similarly, PS PDF at 0.218 is also 217 is again going to be smaller than k. See here, means I have got the set C here if I look at the corresponding values in the vector on the x-axis. So which vector do we have on the x-axis? We have mu dot val. So let us consider the values on the in the vector mu dot val. So suppose I store it somewhere in say R, then what I need to consider is mu dot val of R. So the lower limit of this and the upper limit of this is going to give me the vector, the required set C. So minimum of mu dot val R. So let us first look at the vector itself, mu dot val R. See what do we get. I'm sorry, let us run this again. Okay, so we have got a bunch of values of mu. So starting from minus 1.83, minus 1.82 to up to minus 0.38. So we have got an interval actually. We have got minus 1.83 to minus 0.38. So let us consider this interval. So how do I get this interval? So I'll consider only minimum of mu dot val R and maximum of mu dot val R, right? So minus 1.83 to minus 0.38, this is the interval. So this interval basically gives me the lower limit for the set C and the upper limit for the set C. So instead of calling it as a set, now I'll call it as a interval. So C minimum will be the lower limit, I am denoting it by C mean, and the upper limit I am denoting by C max. So notice that as you change the values, it is going to change. Now is it a 95% interval? So how do I know? So I have got an interval. I'll check what is the CDF of the posterior distribution at the upper limit and what is the CDF at the lower limit. If the subtraction of the two values gives me 0.95, then I am right. So let us calculate the posterior CDF. Now the posterior CDF will be simply P norm at point C max with parameters PS mean and root of PS variance, right? This will give me CDF. Oh, I'm sorry, I should write this, run this first. C mean, C max, now P norm. So 0.96. Now similarly, P norm at point C mean. So the subtraction I am calculating here. So 0.92. So C 0.2 is not good enough. We are not getting 95%. We are getting a 92.42455% interval. So let us try to change this point a bit now. Instead of 0.2, what will happen if I take it as 0.1? See here. Let us repeat the program And let us see what do we get. Let us look at the values C mean and C max here. So now my interval is minus 1.97 to minus 0.24. So the interval has broadened. Earlier the interval was, see here, earlier the interval was minus 1.83 to minus 0.38. Now because I went down on the y-axis, so the interval has broadened. It is minus 1.97 to minus 0.24. So now let us look at the coverage probability. It is 0.9658. So yes, the condition is satisfied. This probability should be at least 1 minus alpha. Now here we had chosen K arbitrarily. So how do I come up with the highest posterior density credible interval? In the case of highest posterior density credible interval, this K should be largest possible. Now because there can be many such Ks, so I can always take a sequence of values of K for which this will be true. So let us try with, instead of K equal to 0.1, let us try using a sequence of values of K. So where I'll start with, instead of 0.1, I'll start with a constant, say 0.05, and I'll go on up to say 0.2, because we know at the point 0.2 the intervals probability was definitely less than 0.95. Means we should start with a value where the coverage probability we know for sure is more than 0.95, which is 1 minus alpha, and the upper limit of the values of K should be a point where the coverage probability is less than 1 minus alpha. So I am going to increase this by 0.01. So I have a sequence of values of K. Now let us try to put this in a loop. So for I in 1 to length of K. So we are going to repeat this procedure for these many values of K. So what we are going to do? So let us store, every time let us store this. Now this will be the probability. So let us try to correct this. So instead of K, now I'll have ith value of K, and here because C mean, C max are vectors, I must declare them first. So C mean, then C max, I have declared them here. Now what I'm going to do is, here I should have probability 2 can be declared as a vector. This probability basically indicates coverage probability of that set, of that interval. So here I'll have and now these two will be the ith value. So see, what we are doing is, we are computing this, we have put this in the graph. Okay, so now for all these K's, we are going to compute the coverage probability. We are going to find this constant C mean, means we are going to construct the interval C. So what we are doing, let me explain it again. We are taking a set of values of K starting from 0.05 to 0.2, and I am increasing it by 0.01, means 0.05, 0.06, 0.07 and so on up to 0.2. Okay, so for every value of K, now I'll find this set C. So how do we find this set C? So we compare the posterior distributions values with the constant, and then we find all those values where posterior distribution is at least as large as the constant K. Then we identify the values of mu corresponding to this set. So here this is how we do, and then we take the minimum of that interval and the maximum of that set. So the minimum of that set is going to give me the lower limit for the interval. Maximum of the set is giving me the upper limit for the interval. Now once the interval is constructed, we check whether the interval fulfills the condition that the probability should be at least 1 minus alpha. So now let us try to run this. Okay, now it has been run. Now what do we need to check? We need to check whether the probabilities were 1 or not. So can we plot K and probability together? Let us try doing it. Okay, so what happened? See here. And now in this graph, put the AB line at point 1 minus alpha, right? Let us check the value of alpha. Oh no, we should run alpha equal to 0.05 here. And now let us try to add this line, right? So see, these are the values of k. These are where the probability is more than 0.95, and if I start with this, so at 0.15 to 0.2 onwards, the probability of the interval is less than 0.95. So these intervals are of no use. So all these are the values of k for which the probability is at least 0.95, which is 1 minus alpha. Now the HPDCI is nothing but the interval for which the coverage probability is at least 0.95 and k is as large as possible. So k is the largest integer. Now see, we started with 0.05. So the coverage probability was more than 0.97. In fact, the coverage probability for the first set, it was 0.984687.5. So this value is 0.98. So for 0.05, the value is 0.9846. Then it goes down. So as you increase k, see the probability decreases. But then you can't go on decreasing infinitely. You have to stop at the confidence coefficient provided to you, which is 1 minus alpha, which is 0.95 here. So you must stop here. So this point is nothing but the point which gives us the value, the largest possible value of k, which fulfills the condition. The condition that the corresponding coverage probability of that interval should be at least 0.95. So which is the value of k? So let us try to find this point here using R. So which probability is greater than or equal to 1 minus alpha? So which dot max, right? I'm sorry, not which dot max. Which probability is greater than or equal to 1 minus alpha? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 values. So all these 9 values of the probability vector were larger than or equal to 1 minus alpha. So the maximum of this, that is the ninth value, that is going to give me the HPDCI. So that is the optimal value of k. So maximum of this, suppose I store somewhere in say u, so that will be 9. So the ninth value of k means ku, which is 0.13, that should have been chosen. So that is the largest integer. Ninth value of k will be the largest integer, largest value of k which satisfies the condition, and so the corresponding interval will be the optimal interval. Means the ninth interval will be the optimal interval. So the HPDCI, HPD means highest posterior density credible intervals, lower limit will be C mean with u, ninth value, and HPDCI's upper limit will be actually equal to C max youth value. So what are they? Minus 1.92 to minus 0.29. So now, does it make sense? Is it actually reducing the length? How does it look like? So the way we did earlier, try to plot the lower limits and upper limits. So here was the here was the command to plot the lower limits and upper limits of the intervals. So let us use it here and make some changes. So how much is the length of k? Because those many values we are going to plot, those many intervals we have constructed. So length of k is only 16. So we have only 16 values. 1 to length of k. Similarly here we can say, or you can store the length in a separate variable. So instead of UCI, now what you have is C max, and the upper and lower limit. Now the minimum should be C mean, and C max minimum should be considered as the lower limit of the y-axis, and maximum of the two should be considered as the upper limit of the y-axis. So these changes are made here. So see, so let us try to plot it. So see, can you notice the length is decreasing actually, right? But see, only decreasing the length is not the criteria. The idea is that we should also have the coverage probability up to uh, at least 0.95. So we should consider only those points instead of all the points. We should consider only those points which fulfill the criteria that the probability should be at least 0.95. So instead of plotting all these values, we should plot only points up to u. U is the, because u denotes maximum integer for which the coverage probability is at least 1 minus alpha. Maximum value of maximum index at which the coverage probability is at least 1 minus alpha. So let us C max, I should say 1 to u. Similarly here. Now let us try plotting it. So do you realize the lengths are decreasing, right? The lengths go on decreasing. So if you plot the length, so LEN HPDCI is actually equal to HPDCI upper minus HPDCI lower. So plot length of the HPDCI from 1 to u. One. Oh, I'm sorry. Length will be not the difference, it will be HPDCI, so only 1 point. I meant C max minus C mean. Length of the interval will be simply C max minus C mean. So now plot this length. So now plot this length. So see, the length goes on decreasing and it is minimum at the point 9. So when we apply the procedure of construction of highest posterior density credible intervals, we end up getting an interval with minimum length and optimal coverage probability, means coverage probability at least 0.95. So why does it happen? So what happens is, let us consider the graph of posterior distribution again. Let us plot this again. So what happens is, when you start choosing the values of k, so here k was chosen to be 0.05, 0.06, 0.07 up to 0.2. So the ninth value of k was actually 0.13. Because if I choose k equal to 0.12, immediately the coverage probability becomes smaller. It is less than 0.95. So that is not what we want. So it is as if we started choosing the values of k starting from 0.05 and we went on up to 0.13. So now let us try to add these lines to the graph. So AB line H is equal to K1. Okay, then AB line H is equal to K2. Do you realize? the values will be the lines will be very close to each other because the values are close to each other. So h is equal to say k 5, fine. And now AB line h is equal to k say 7. Okay, we have further. So see, I am repeating the procedure of construction of credible HPD credible intervals. What they do is, first they find all those mu's such that posterior PDF is at least as large as k. So posterior PDF is at least as large as k. So if I talk about this last value, posterior PDF at least as large as k, so this will be the region. So and the corresponding interval will be somewhere here, right? Somewhere here in this region. So if I choose k is equal to say 0.13, right? So what happens is the coverage probability, the interval becomes narrower and narrower. So as you increase k, as you go up on the y-axis here, the interval becomes narrower and narrower. So for example, if you had k equal to h is equal to say 0.4, see here the interval is really very narrow, very narrow. But then the interval, there is a condition that the interval should be chosen such that the probability of that interval, posterior probability of that particular interval is at least 1 minus alpha. So if I choose a very large value, I'll not fulfill the condition. And if I choose a very small value, I can choose a very small value, then I'll get a too wide interval. So what HBDCI does is it tries to merge these two conditions. The first condition is that the length of the interval should be small, and the second condition is that the coverage probability should be at least as large as 0.95, the required confidence coefficient. And then the third condition is automatically satisfied because of the way it is constructed. The third condition is that the interval should contain posterior mode. So why this condition is automatically fulfilled? This is automatically fulfilled because you are defining the set C as as a set of all values of the parameter for which the posterior distribution is at least as large as a particular value. So because you say it is at least as large as a particular value, so these values of k are always less than the modal value, the maximum value of the posterior distribution, and so the intervals always contain posterior mode. So that is why highest posterior density credible intervals are so popular. Let us try to revise the things which we have done so far. So we have seen how the usual way of constructing credible intervals uh, can be based on the computation of quantiles, but then every time when we try to compute the credible interval with minimum length, either we have to simulate observations from the distribution or we have to apply a numeric procedure where we are calculating lengths of all too many intervals and then we go for the minimum. So that may not be accurate all the time. So what we do is we try to construct a procedure where the posterior mode is included in the interval, the length of the interval is minimum, and the coverage probability of the interval is at least 1 minus alpha. So all these 3 points are covered in the definition of highest posterior density credible interval. So HPDCIs are preferred over the other credible intervals in the context of Bayesian inference. So enough for today. So tomorrow we will discuss a practical on construction of HPDCIs.